Welcome to the Escarpment. This is my model railway HO build channel and I'm your host Jason. I know it's been a little while. I think the last video was back in November and I sort of said I'd be putting out another one in December and I guess here we are, February already. Look, there's good reason for that, and it's got nothing to do with losing my mojo or anything like that related to the layout. I guess prior to Christmas in December, there was a bit of a health scare with my wife, and obviously we had to get through Christmas to wait to get into some specialists to sort of work out what was going on. I guess since January, there's been a number of tests that have been undertaken, and unfortunately, earlier last week, it had been confirmed that my wife's got breast cancer. Now, we're pretty positive and we think we've caught it early. Obviously, we've still got another major test to be done before we head into the surgeon's office and work out what the next steps are. But anyway, look, I just thought I'd share that with you because I know a number of people have sort of reached out and asked, is everything okay? And where are you? Are you still working on your layout? So today's video, it's really just catching up, I guess, from November. It hasn't been as fast just due to circumstances, but I thought I'd just show you what I've sort of been doing when I have had the opportunity to get up here and just have some time, I guess, just de-stress a little bit. But anyway, you can see next to me, I've actually received my Ozcision 4-car Deb set. It came in late last week. I did post some stuff up on Facebook. I've got a link below if you'd like to join up to my Facebook group. And look, it's a very nice set. Apparently, I didn't realize I ordered this or pre-ordered this back in 2020. I hadn't realized it was that long ago. I mean, I know there was a lot of people on, I guess, on the social media saying, where is it? God, it's taking so long, blah, blah, blah. But I must admit, I didn't even realize it had been 5 years. But anyway, here it is in the flesh, and I must admit it's a pretty good model. There's some quirks behind it because I think most people, including myself, thought you could take a car out and run it as a 3-car Deb set. Apparently the way it's wired, you can't, because if you do take one of them out, apparently there's a short circuit. But anyway, there was a fella online called Linton, and he sort of worked out what to do with the plugs and to change the wires around so you can take a car out and run it as a 3-car set if you need to. Basically, you've got to change the wires on these two cars right here. And it's not hard to do. He sort of spelt it out pretty straightforward. I know Ozcision are actually also coming up with having a different wiring set to put in, but the problem with that solution is you've got to change it back and forth. So if you want a 3-car Deb set, you've got to put their new wiring harness in, but if you want to put it back as a 4-car set, you've got to put the original wiring set back in. So I'm going to go with this other modification. It's pretty straightforward. So what's sort of been happening? Well, as you know, a lot of the terraforming on the Stanwell Park Viaduct has been underway. I've pretty much got all the terraforming done now. Just got one side there and a little bit on this side where I've got to put some plaster cloth down, finish that off, and then I can paint it, as you can see, with what's next to me here. It is fairly dark, but it is the ground cover, and a lot of it will get covered up as I add layer after layer of the scenic. I guess what I've got in my head, what I want to build up on it. Now, mind you, this is on the escarpment. There's a lot of bushland, so there will be a lot of scrub along this, I guess, this hill here. There will be trees, lots of trees actually, that will be covering most of the back scene. I do have a plan on the other side to actually maybe capture a picture of the viaduct from the inside and put it on the fascia just on the other side of this helix here to sort of give you the impression, and I'll sort of have a space where you can see through the trees like you're sort of viewing the Stanwell Park Viaduct from the other side, even though it's going to be a picture. But anyway, I'm going to muck around with that just to see if that adds some depth to the layout. So what I'm going to do is sort of take you around just to the areas I've been working on, just sort of show you what I've completed to date and some of the ideas that I've got. So I'll just start over here at the viaduct, just sort of give you the impression of it. You can sort of see here, I've started now to throw up some pictures just as I'm developing. That's the viaduct in real life. There's some close-up of the brickwork, and the brickwork on this, I will be putting a skin on it. I'll be 3D resin printing all the brickwork, the arches, everything on the front face. I've also got lots of designs all ready to go to reprint for the top section. And you can also see there that tunnel is just on the other side of the viaduct as depicted here. That's that tunnel there. So I'll be terraforming all this and a little bit on that side. I'm gonna come back to that side, and of course this section over here is going to be filled in. I've sort of got to just work out the steps to get to that point and not to close myself in and make it a nightmare to finish off. As mentioned, the terraforming on this side has now been done. I now need to put the plaster cloth on, as I've done to this side here, which has now had the base coat put on. And you can see there, I've still got a little bit on this side to finish off. Down here at the middle, there's a bit of a creek that runs through, and on this side goes down into a bit of a watering hole. That river or creek, whatever you want to call it, sort of goes along that way, but that will be then camouflaged with the bush and the trees down there, so it'll look like it'll go off in the distance. Those with a keen eye, I've actually now dug up. I did have some thin foam where you can see all that exposed wood, but I've actually now got rid of that because I just wanted it a little bit deeper, and then I'll do some trickery with paints to make it look like it gets deeper in some of those areas. You can see here I've started to put the base coat down over the bridge as well, just to start putting some colour into the scene. When I get to the ballast, what I will be doing, I will be using these two mixed together to come up with my ballast colour. Some of these other ones I've had in the past, these are medium ones, so I might mix a little bit here and there just to make some differences along the track. So this section here, I've now put down the base coat. You can see here, this was the original base coat with a bit of dirt put over the top. I will be coming back to that. What I've got planned, and I've got that box down there, it's full of sifted dirt that I did from the backyard. But what I'm going to do is add some different colour grouts to it, a sandstone, and I think I'll do a bit of grey as well, just to break up, and I'll sort of mix it in with that soil I've got prepared, ready to go, just to add variety for the ground cover. I'm not real fussed with all this, the white plaster. This is really going to be built up with bush. I've got a whole bunch of polyfiber type stuff in bags. Just need to, I usually dye it black just for the undercover, and then we cover it with greenery, different types of shades of greenery. But anyway, that'll come later. But I've gone all the way around here now, and I've taken it up to this step here. I do have to come back here. As mentioned earlier, I'm going to move that tunnel just a little bit forward so I can build up some hills behind it. As you can see there, that's the other side of the viaduct. And of course, as mentioned, I'm going to have all that as hillside right down to the tunnel portal, I've got to get that painted. Right here, I've got some of this foam. This is going to be for the insides of my tunnels between the sections of the portals. I still need to put another section up top there. This is still need to be carved and, you know, all that type of stuff to make it look like a bit of a rock face. I am thinking whether or not I do get a few different rock molds, maybe make them out of plaster, etc. But yeah, what's that space? You can see there, that's the fly screen I use for the base, and then I do a quick cover with newspaper, and then I put the plaster cloth on. You can see that I've only just started in this area laying down the base coat. I need to come back, finish off the first layer, and then I'll come back and give it a second layer. So that's pretty much what I've done to date. I'm starting to muck around with my trees just to put them in different areas to work out, are they too big, what sort of tree size I'm going to need. I've actually done it up here at the coal loader. You can see some trees there up against the full height of the coal loader. You know, trees aren't that small when you look at the real thing. So I want to make sure I sort of get some of my trees, not all of them, because obviously I'll need smaller ones in certain areas, but I just need to make sure it looks a little bit realistic with what's around some of the infrastructure on the layout. As I said, I'll come back, finish that off, get the paint cover down. This section here will be painted probably a grey. First things first, get the plaster cloth in, give it that base coat, and then I need to, before I get too much further with the scenic stuff around this bridge, I'll need to first come in and start doing the skin on it with 3D resin prints of the brickwork, just so I can get them painted in place, and then, you know, and then come in with some of the scenery, at least the initial base scenery or scenic stuff that I'll use under and around these pilings. Anyway, so that's basically it, and we'll head back to the chair. So that's the layout to date. That's the updates I've made. I will, you know, as time is available with everything else that's going on, I will come back and continue. And what I've got planned is basically to finish off this section around on level 2 here over to the station area with the terraforming and just getting that base coat on. I think, you know, as it's sort of been formed, it's sort of starting to come alive, and some of my ideas I can now start to see better in my head. But anyway, so look, that's where I'm up to at the moment. As I said, I've got some other stuff happening in the background which will take priority with what's going on up here. So look, I'll just get out videos as I can. So until next time, bye for now.